Alright, time to get started on this dashboard. Now, if you want to follow along, which I highly suggest you do, then you'll want to make sure you've opened the US labor statistics file, where you'll see that we have our data set, where we're looking at establishments, employees, and average annual wage by year, industry, and state. So, where do we start? We've already defined a clear purpose and chose the key metrics and interactivity we'll need through the questions that we've answered. But now it's time to actually prepare the data for visualization in Excel. And we're going to start by preparing the filters and interactivity. And to do that, I'm actually going to create a new tab, and I'm going to call it Data Prep. And the reason I do this is so that I can keep all of my calculations separate from my raw data, which I always want to remain untouched. Alright, so we want the high school students to be able to compare data across industries. So we need to add some sort of industry filter that they can use to select. So I'm just going to write industry filter here. And the first thing we'll actually need is to get a unique list of industries, right? So to do that, I'm going to go back to my raw data, and I'm going to select the entire industry column. So select the top cell, press Ctrl-Shift arrow down. Now we have our entire range selected. I'm just going to copy that and paste it right here. Let's make the column a little bigger. And right now we do have all the industries, but it's not a unique list. We have a lot of duplicate values. So to remove those, with the entire range still selected, we can simply go to Data, Remove Duplicates, which is this icon right here. And with the industry column selected, just press OK. So you'll see that we have 10 unique values remaining from the original list of 1,908 duplicate values. So I'm going to press OK. And you'll see that we have our unique list of industries that we may want to just sort in alphabetical order. So I'm going to select them, press Ctrl-Shift-L to enable this kind of filter toggle here, and then just sort from A to Z. You can press Ctrl-Shift-L one more time, and we have our unique list. Now, this method will work on any version of Excel, but if you are working with Excel 365 and you have access to dynamic array formulas, then you can actually obtain this list with a single formula, which is the unique function. So you'll see that we have unique here, and if I go to my data, select the array with my industries, I'm going to not select the title for this time, close that out, press enter, and again you'll see that we get a dynamic array containing the list of industries. And if we were to sort this array, which is another dynamic array formula, then we get the same exact list. So again, if you're working on Excel 365, feel free to use this method, but I'm just going to stick to my list that we removed duplicates from. Okay, so now that we have the list of industries, we need some sort of way that the end users can select one of them. So I'm just going to write selection here. Copy the formatting from this. And a great way to actually select from one of these is to use a data validation list. So I'm going to go to Data, Data Validation, which is this icon right here. And what I want to allow is for, instead of any value, we want to allow for a list of values. And the source of that list is going to be my list of industries. Press OK. You'll see that we get this kind of drop-down arrow here, and if I click on it, we have our alphabetically sorted list of industries that our users can select from. Alright, so that's the industry filter that the students can interact with, but there's actually another filter that I want to add that the students actually won't interact with, and that's for the date. So I'm going to write date filter down here. And you may be wondering why we need a date filter. Well, you'll notice that the raw data contains information from 2020 all the way back to 2017. But most of the time, we're only going to want to show the most recent figures from 2020. So what I'm going to do is go back to my Data Prep tab and write the current year here, which is 2020. Give this a little bit of formatting. And there we go. Now, you may be wondering why it's necessary for me to actually go ahead and write the current year in my data prep tab here, similar to how we have our selection. And the reason for that is because the dashboard that we'll be building is going to be formula-based. Now, I prefer formula-based dashboards over pivot table-based dashboards because they offer more flexibility both in calculations and visualizations. That said though, when building formula-based dashboards, it's very important to set up the filters first because they are going to be baked into the formulas that we use for our metrics. So now that we do have our filters ready, time to start calculating and visualizing our key metrics.